Where do you want me to?
So it's not
I-
just,
I'd like you to take over and I'll just, I'll fill in if I need to.
Okay, sounds great. Bye. See you.
yeah, just look at it. So then- Yeah, it's your text here. Yeah. All right. All right.
Okay, we've got a couple people leaving. Get started here in a second.
Throw those BRC people out of there.
All right, we're down to just a couple now. Let's see. Call the meeting to order at 4:04. Ken is in Arizona, and so I'm gonna help out, run the meeting, and he's gonna chime in. Our owl is not working, and so I'll just talk loud. We've got, looks like, Batika, Bill Hobital, Doug is still here. Steve Hinkemeyer
Here.
in South. And we have Michelle, what was your last name? Mahosky from Batika. She's the new education coordinator. It's water education coordinator.
You should move like closer to stuff.
Okay, so for the agenda, has everyone had a chance to look at it? It's pretty simple tonight, but if we have an emotion, we don't have many people here. I've got the agenda up on the screen. Motion to approve the agenda.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Let me change meetings.
Okay.
Mongrel move.
It's the same link, isn't it? Correct?
Yeah, the files are in the different.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, no, it's the same link, but
Do you need us to quit and join on the other link or are we good to
we're
go?
good. No, we're good.
no, just
Not rolling.
just the meeting materials are in a different place, Ken.
Yeah. So if I have
Brenner
motion to
moves to
approve,
approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
approves, is there a second? Anyone, second?
Doug, you still with us?
Yeah, Mongrel second.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, all opposed, all in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye.
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 All opposed? Say nay. All right, we'll go ahead and accept the agenda. Any public comment? Public? No comment from Michelle? Okay, for the minutes, I'll go to the minutes if people have had a chance. Most of it was about the story map. We'll go over that again tonight. Radio ads. Articles, we'll talk about that again, and some updates. So I need, all looks okay, and motion to approve the minutes from July 11th.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Brenner second.
All in favor of accepting the July minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Okay, the minutes have been approved. We've got a financial report from Patrick here. Let me go back to the agenda. Tight with me here, got a lot of things going on. Where'd it go? Oh, no. Let's see. One more second. One more second. That's the big river. I'll close that one out. All right, I'll get to the agenda here in a second. Let's see, one more second. Sorry about that. Kristen's gone, so I'm kind of doing it all tonight. Here we go. So for the financials, our PEPO grant ends at the end of this month. So October 1st will be a new grant. So until that time, we, at the bottom, we can see that we've got $16,123 till the end of this month. We expect for most of that to be paid since we haven't gotten the bill for the story map yet, which we're expecting. Kristen's last bill for her recorder duties. Let's see, we've got, so most of that's the story map of $13,245. We don't know what that bill will be, but that's what we have allotted at this time. And then we have time for me for this and to do the youth fest.
I thought, Sally, because we they gave us our money late. They didn't approve the 25,000 PEPO grant in a timely fashion. I thought they had given us more time than October 1st.
I'm not sure that that's what Patrick thinks. I will check with him.
Do you remember Ken? Okay, Brenner.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we do have more time, but we need to get that clarified because there is a significant delay between when it's approved and when the money is actually available. So we want to follow up with that.
I will ask Jeff in his CWCB financial update that question.
I was looking, this is Kristen. I was looking at the contract and I believe the contract says November 30th. However, I don't know, sometimes that date is a little later than the actual reporting dates through the CWCB. So, but that's the date that is listed on the paperwork.
Okay. Let's ask Jeff. I'll ask Jeff during his update.
Jeff or Elizabeth, that we can ask Jeff tonight.
Yeah.
I think we'll just, well, in that case, hopefully we don't spend it all before October 1st.
We have till the end of the year to spend the 9375. Looks like.
Yes, and so for the CWCD, that one ends at the end of the year. And I think we're on track for most of that also. Patrick said, still have some things to pay for the website and things like that, but I think everything looks good there. And that's a lot of time for that I do on the website, which I've done a lot of recently. So, does anyone have any questions on the budget? Comments?
Move to accept the budget update as provided.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All not in favor, say nay. Okay, the budget has been accepted. moving forward, we've got Kristen and Bill for the story map. They've got 20 minutes. I know she needs to get out in about, not in about that amount of time to go pick up her daughter. So, Kristen, we will turn it over to you and Bill.
Great, thank you so much, Sally. My video isn't working today, but I am glad Michelle is able to be present at the meeting in person. We are excited to have her on deck. So welcome, Michelle. And for the most part, I'm going to turn this over to Bill. He and I have been working pretty diligently to put together the various pieces of this story map scope. And he's going to share where we're at currently and what our plan is for a timeline to wrap this up, under the assumption that we need to do so by the end of this month and submit a final invoice. So I'll turn it over to Bill. Thanks.
Thanks, Kristen. So we've just got a quick update for you. It should be really straightforward. I do think threw some slides together, but I can't take the screen right now while someone else has it. Zoom is telling me.
I think I just got off, so. Oh.
Yeah, here we go. Looks good. Thanks. Okay. What are you guys looking at? Are you looking at a slide or something else?
Looks
Okay,
good.
sounds good. So quick project update. We just want to talk about where we are and what we have left to do. So just as a reminder, I think everyone in this room is probably really familiar with this, but just in here in case, our goals were to communicate on BRT goals and work, and really focus on how various entities in the Yampa White Green Basin work together to manage water. This tool is for a wide range of audience. It's an education and outreach tool. It's interactive, and some constraints and kind of sidebars we had on it are to not be duplicative to all the other great work that's occurring, such as the scorecard, the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District dashboard, and a couple other great other websites and education pieces that are out there. So this one is not just focused solely on watershed education, although that's a component of it, but it's really trying to bring that back to how are people using the water, how are people working together to manage water in the basin, and how does the Basin Roundtable fit into kind of a central or umbrella role in a lot of that work. We did some outreach to members to try to see what kind of data was out there to be used, what sources of information might be available to us, and you know, what particular work focus areas people might be interested in. So we didn't get huge results back from the survey yet. We're still working on getting people to jump in there and fill it out. It just takes about 5 or 7 minutes, but we did get some geographic representation from across all the basins. And this is some people that work in each, or some people that work in multiple through their job role at the state or the county level, or some other position. It's a pretty good smattering of water users across the board and people working at different levels of government, the ag community, and sort of the conservation, nonprofit, and NGO groups out there. As far as what people are doing, we think it's pretty good representation for the most part, and we'll do a little more targeted outreach, you know, with the remaining part of this week and next week to try to get some more feedback from folks. That's the survey results. So concurrent to that, we've been working on what this site might look like. And just as a reminder, phase 1, this scoping phase, is really about putting together a spec for doing this website work. It's not creating content or actually building anything. It's really just understanding what tools are available, what kind of information people would like to have to go into it, what data is available, and then trying to wrap our heads around some cost estimates for achieving those requests from everybody. So one of the requirements of this is that we're not building up a bunch of custom code and a bunch of custom website work that somebody down the line, once this is passed off, would not be able to use, get into the back end of, and manage. And so really that confines it to the Esri ArcGIS company's ecosystem of software, and their story maps are pretty common out there. If you haven't seen them before, you've probably used them without even knowing, because a lot of times these are what are on the back end of news articles and that sort of thing. But it'll tend to look something like one of these. You can really customize your styling with your colors and that sort of thing. But the functionality will be kind of constrained to what Esri offers. And that's quite a lot. It's interactive maps, it's graphics, it's embeddable media, it's you can build data dashboards and that sort of thing. And all of that can then be sort of embedded and nested within this story map. So you can create a pretty good product within their ecosystem. The advantage of that then is this is not web coding to make any of these. These are sort of drag and drop user interfaces to build all this stuff up. And whoever creates this product for you in the long run can pass it off. And hopefully someone within your organization or someone else down the line that wasn't involved in its original build should be able to get in and maintenance it and use it and update it. This is one of the things Kristen and I especially have been working on and tossing around ideas, is how to organize the topics in this. And this is something that we're very open to feedback and from a lot of people, because there is quite a bit of information and quite a bit of great storytelling to do around the Yampa White Green and the Basin Roundtable's work and all of the partners within the basin. And so it's how is all of that sort of brought together and collated and then organized and narrated around. So this is how it's looking for the time being. You can imagine each of these kind of topic areas or subtopics being kind of a site page within the greater site. So I'm going to jump back to that other side. But, you know, as you're looking at these website examples, kind of these tiles over here on the top right example, or this navigational bar up at the top of this lower one would be the subject areas. And then each of these groups is what would populate one of those and live in that. So in particular, you know, the sky's kind of the limit on how much you want to talk about the science and education part. Ideally, that's going to be just short digestible chunks that are really usable for folks like Yampatika to talk about watershed hydrology, or else give other people enough background that they can understand these other larger topics about management, which is really the focus of this website, is all these folks in the basin working together to manage water successfully for nature and people. And so, you know, looking across these, that water for nature and recreation, and again, these are just kind of placeholder titles. These would not be page titles necessarily in the website. All of that would be determined down the line, but this is just how we're thinking about lumping and splitting topic areas for this work. So back to that again, like nature and recreation, obviously there's a lot in there, and that could be split out even more. Watershed management could be split or grouped in a number of different ways. This is kind of what we've landed on right now for a working version of it.
Hey, Bill, it looks like we have a hand up right now.
Yeah. Ooh, let me see. Got my.
Ken?
Hi, Bill. This is Ken Brenner.
Yeah, hey, Ken.
Thanks for your work on this. So the watershed management, that seems like one of the main resources there is the Division of Water Resources and how they administer the water in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Is that basically, and then, I mean, I don't see that specifically mentioned, but that would be helping people understand how water is administered, and just let Aaron and Brian kind of help fill in exactly how they would describe that, because it's a complicated thing, but if we can make that simple enough that people basically understand it, that would be important.
Yeah,
And
I think that's go ahead, please.
Well, go ahead and respond to that, and then I wanted to go to watershed hydrology.
Yeah, I think the state level is a big part of it, but in my conversations with Kristen and other folks, my understanding is also that a lot of this part is not just the state, it's the individual conservation districts within your basin, it's the people that maintain storage and, you know, in Stagecoach and elsewhere, Upper Yampa, it's folks in the White Basin. And so the idea is, you know, as water is falling as snow in the headwaters and moving down the line through the White or the Yampa River system, what entities are out there. And it is not just the state, you know, the state provides the legal framework for it, but it is, you know, the city of Steamboat and the city of Craig and these individual conservation districts and individual, you know, large acreage property owners and ditch collectives and that sort of thing. So I think that is, at least right now, that's my understanding of what's living under watershed management. But you know, other folks can elaborate on that or change the direction of that.
But everybody that you mentioned, though, must comply with the state's rules. And so kind of a good place to start is just to say, this is the way the state of Colorado administers these waters. And then everyone else is compliant. Everybody that you mentioned, whether it's a municipal use, whether it's the various agricultural or industrial uses, along with conservation districts and conservancy districts, yeah, they all must comply with these basic rules. So that kind of a tutorial out of that is an important thing to help people understand. We just spent quite a bit of time in the last committee meeting. You know, there's articles being written by people who have a horribly inept understanding of how water is administered and used. And you can make some terrible assumptions about what's going on without that fundamental understanding. And then watershed hydrology, one thing that'd be nice to also see is just where we're at, like with our drought monitors, our soil moisture work, the stream flow gauging, the, you know, the, what we've, you know, the, like the NOAA data that comes out, they're constantly updating these 30 and 90-day models, giving us some idea where we're going. So those types of links and overlays might be particularly useful in helping people better understand exactly what is going on and how it changes all the time. That's all.
I think that's great. I think that's really helpful. That kind of feedback from you and anyone else that is interested in taking some time to give it is going to be, I think, really key in taking these sort of concept topic areas for us and then fleshing out what actually lives in these. And that's what's going to be in this phase 1 scoping report, I think, is the more specifics for each of these areas. I think just to sort of clarify for folks, the ability to take like a live data feed and have like an HTML widget that's updating like an embedded drought monitor map or something like that isn't something that's really in this kind of technology stack. That's sort of custom coding work. And there is things like the dashboard being built by Upper Yampa that do a lot of that. So it's more likely that the role of this website is going to be to sort of promote the availability of that stuff and then steer people in the direction of those tools that are built by some of your partners.
Thanks, Bill.
Mm-hmm. So jumping back into this is where that leaves Kristen and I to hammer away for the remainder of the month is try to touch base and get a little more feedback from folks and then flesh out those topic area, either the groupings or if the overall groupings are more or less copacetic to people, just fleshing out what's going to live under those and then actually try to write a bit of an outline or a script for what it's like to be on one of those pages, what you want to see as you scroll down through it, the order information is presented into you. For example, watershed management start at the state level, make sure people understand how that is administered in Colorado, and then we can move down into, who are the local entities, people, groups actually doing that on the day-to-day basis or living within that system, that sort of thing. And so, other big parts of that document are going to be some cost estimates, and there'll be some kind of base cost to build this tool, but then there'll be some variable costs in there. I think that'll depend on whether or not there's customized infographics that need to be made or whether there's existing content out there and that sort of thing. And so that's what'll be in there. And we'll work pretty hard on that for the next couple of weeks. And then hopefully have something ready to turn over. Thanks. And I'll stop sharing here, I think, maybe.
Kristen, do you want to add anything?
Just to reiterate that, yeah, we're working with the timeline of having a final draft complete by the end of this month and then submitting that to this group to review and consider and comment on. And then we'll integrate those comments and probably do a final presentation at the November PEPO meeting, with the goal of wrapping up this phase of the project.
Okay, thank you very
Does
much.
that, I guess my final question would just be, does that seem copacetic with everyone's understanding of what this project was intended to include? And yeah, really what we want to have as the outcome of this is a roadmap of sorts that we can use to guide the next phase and the next consultant if it were to be someone other than Lodic. So we'd likely reassess, figure out what the budget is, map out the next, the scope of the next phase, and then put that up for bid to figure out who would be a good candidate for helping us move the project along closer towards implementation.
Doug, do you have a question? Got your hand?
So yeah, just a comment. So yeah, I'm good with this whole concept. I want to make sure we don't get lost in the whole situation. And then I also want to make sure that it isn't controlled by the NGOs and not people that actually own the land and own the water, and that actually it's on the ground stuff. And we don't come out with a bunch of garbage that's ends up being for, again, for, you know, for the in-stream flows and the rest, and something that's practicable and applicable to people that actually can make a difference to this thing. So I just told, I worry because, you know, I'm busy, we're all busy, but the people that aren't busy are the ones that you got your ear, and I just want to make sure you reach out to the people that don't have your ear and make sure we got a solid base and a solid sound frame here.
Yeah, that's a good point. We definitely want to make sure we're getting feedback from all parties, and it is harder to do that with some audiences than others. So, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the response rate we're seeking by the end of the month. So we'll maybe need to build that into the phase 2, is more extensive outreach for any audiences that were not did not respond to the survey, and that we want to make sure we're getting input from.
Ken?
You know, Kristen, maybe one of the things that'll help is to continue, you know, the outline that Bill provided us today. That really helps. And the more detailed that outline becomes, the more we can understand, you know, come to a common understanding of what you're trying to communicate, and have people like Doug and others that are not full-time participants on this a chance to look at this and see the context of the information that's being presented and make sure it feels appropriate and comfortable, because there's the potential to include perspectives that maybe will cause us more problems than help. So I think we want the more detail that you can continue to provide as you know, the more you can build out your outline of the content, that will help all of us as far as being able to contribute constructively. That's all. Thanks.
I
Okay.
was gonna
Yeah.
say, Bill, if you wanted to send out that one slide where you have everything divvied out by tabs, if you would like to send that information to me, and I can send it out. If you want some feedback from people, I'm not sure if that's what you want right now, but.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful. I think the kind of, and I can write this out too, but the kind of feedback that'll be helpful is the things I think are important for people, for a user to understand about watershed management are blank, 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 you know, big picture stuff. Because what I'm not doing or we're not doing on this part of the effort is spending time to actually write copy and you know, write finalized website content or something that someone, you know, I'm not writing verbiage that someone's going to see in a website at this point. That's not really part of this. I'm trying to think about what belongs under each of these headings, and also in general, the high level, like as Doug mentioned, that kind of feedback is really helpful because it's what is the vision and purpose or what are the big hits that we want people to understand about watershed management? You know, the details of how that is communicated and written are kind of what happens when the actual website is built. But if that makes sense, and I'll try to write that out a little more. But yeah, we'll send an outline out for these kind of topic groupings, and any kind of feedback on that will be incredibly helpful.
Anybody else have any comments? I guess we'll move on to website. Let's see. I've been updating the website. I met with Frank and Steve the last couple of weeks, and have been updating the projects page quite a bit. I'm going to go over that in a lot more depth in the roundtable meeting. So I think I will just let you know that we'll see it there. But trying to just clean things up, update project tracker. And if anyone sees any errors on the website, it's a big website, lots of information, let me know, because it's got a lot of layers to it. And also, if anyone has any photos or anything they want to add to the website, please send them to me, especially like from the July 11th field trip. I'm just using what I have from my own phone. So I would appreciate anything, especially from outside the Yampa Basin.
Did we get anything from Jennifer's?
Never, we had to all do, sign a waiver, but I never received anything from him. So maybe I'll go to him, but I know Kent Vertrees had his camera. I know a lot of people had their cameras, so. Yeah, they probably are a lot better than mine too, so. But I can follow up with the TNC. I'm not sure.
I can call Jennifer because they have multiple drone shots of our group. And
Yeah,
I'm sure they would allow us to use those on
yeah,
our website.
yeah. Well, he's got my email. He never got back to me, so,
Okay.
But lots of work on the website, so it's been a couple of years since we've done that, so feel pretty good on that. And so I've also been working on some new print ads, and I will show you those. Hold on, let me try and figure out where these guys are. I have a lot of things open. That's not it. My print ads, hold on 1 second. So I made 2 print ads. They are running now. We were doing them a couple times in Steamboat, and let's see. That's not it. That's not it. I'll go to where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so this is one I made. And this is, I kind of tried to do like 2 completely different print ads. This one is based on the South Platte Roundtable, their ads. They shared with us at the last PEPO meeting when we went to Denver, some of the print ads they put out. And so I took it apart. They said we could use them and use some little infographics just to kind of get people's attention. So let me know nicely what how you feel about them. They're two totally different ads. So this one is running about agriculture and how much it contributes to the economy here. It's a little map I made, and that's one of them. And let's see. Next one will be. This is one I made. I actually used a different picture in the end of the White River picture that Alden gave us, but this is one I took from what the Gunnison Roundtable is doing. So they have a QR code that you scan for more information. I didn't do that, but it's just kind of very simple and what is the White River Roundtable. So let me know if you have feelings one way or the other on either. So this is probably all I'll do for right now. We'll reinvigorate in over the winter and try and do some more. But if there's one avenue you like better than the other, let me know.
So you sent me print ad 1 and print ad 2.
Yeah, and so.
Wanting 2, did you?
Yeah, so it's basically this one, but just with the White River behind it. So a different picture.
Oh,
But
I
if you want to
really like
share
the
it.
fall foliage. but-
Yeah, it's a beautiful picture. I liked it better. I didn't want a picture of all of us, so I'll try and find it here. Got a lot of things going on. But if anyone has any ideas, I just kind of went rogue and did some of these. If anyone has any ideas for how they'd like to see print ads, let me know.
Sally, these are an enormous improvement over what we've had in the past. So congratulations on taking the initiative and completely modifying the format here. I think you're definitely on the right track. I wanted to share with everyone, because I don't think I mentioned this to you. I did get a call from Russ Sands a few days ago. And one of the things that he shared, remember that kind of long folded piece that Casey did there for the Denver Metro South Platte area? That was kind of a fact sheet that they had put together for their work in the basin. Russ is talking about doing one of those for each of the basins around the state. So I think we'll hear more about that at the C9 summit as well.
Yeah, that's what this part right here was taken from. I did the statistics for us instead of the South Platte. So yeah,
So
I stole their idea.
I don't print ad 1 to the.
Oh, good.
Peppo Drive.
I'm not sure. Right now, see, I'm on my desktop. But yeah, let me know about ideas for the future.
Well,
Other than that,
I think you'll be working with, it sounds like, what I understood from our brief conversation is it sounds like we'll be working with them, with the state, with the CWCB to build that handout. Remember the one that was, it's probably 8.5 by 11, but only about 6 or 8 inches wide. And then it was folded long, like you'd fold it out and it would be the full 22 inches and it was covered on both sides. I'm looking forward to my briefcase and I took it out before I came down here. But that piece was, I thought, particularly striking, really easy, like your advertisement on the screen, great graphics, easy to understand, good information. I believe that we're going to be trying to do something like that for each of the basins. And obviously, I would assume you'll be working pretty closely with them on content for our basin.
yeah, and I think the goal is to just try and come up with consistent branding. So if we can, so that's why I tried to do what some other basins had out there. anyone doesn't have anything else, I'll just move on and we'll talk about the canopy calendar and signups. Haven't had a whole lot of canopy action lately. It's been a busy summer, but let's see, next week I am going to the Upper Nampa Water Conservancy District Youth Fest and we'll have canopy up there. I have, I'll bring those in. I bought weights for both canopies. And so I will bring those in and have someone take those home to wherever the other western slope canopy is. I also made a QR code sheet for when we have the canopy up. And what the QR code, if people just scan, it's just basically a QR code. If they scan it, then they will be registered for a newsletter. So I thought it might be just something that, hey, you're here, you can scan it, and we have them for their newsletter while we're talking to them. So little something to do while we're at the canopy.
Let's introduce that the day that Jeff Myers runs the camp. Cause he's
Sounds
so
good.
up on technology.
You just have to put the QR code up. Other people run that technology. But so we don't have a whole lot of events coming up. But we'd like to see the canopy go out a whole lot more. Talking about that, we have a newspaper article coming up on November 4th. I've written the last couple, if anyone wants to write an article. Ken, do you want to talk about what you thought the article might be about this time?
Sure. One idea that I think is always appropriate for in our basin is to talk about the importance of flood irrigation and the multiple benefits that come from that. I think we're going to see that theme at the Colorado River District agenda as well. But it's I think an opportunity to continue to help people better understand how the hydrology works and the habitat that's created, as well as the benefit of vibrant agricultural work being done here in the basin. So that was one topic. But, you know, I would also think that another valid topic would be what came out of the Big River Committee today. And that would be just to talk more proactively about how wisely Colorado administers and uses their water resources, and how this is a state where, I mean, you might accuse us of wasting water, but I think in fact, when you really understand our state water law, we're actually quite frugal with our water resources, and our water administration, I think, is superior to any of the other 6 states. So that's a story that we need to tell as well.
How many words does that article need to be?
500.
I just wonder, Ken, if it might not be a good time for that, like Frank or I, to write up something on grants on the amount of money that in 2024 that got spent on White Creek Basin projects. As well, I can talk to Frank when he shows up for the meeting and just see, but I think that's you know, people like to see what we're spending inside the White Creek Basin on projects. And gosh, we had 2 great big projects that we put money forward for this year, plus all the other, you know, medium range.
Yeah, so there's 3 different topics. We're going to be into 2025 before we know it. So these are all valid topics. So that's 3 ideas that we've got. I can work on the flood irrigation, but I'm not sure I'm the most qualified person to write that. But we can, Sally and I can work on that unless there's some suggestions about who might do that, or how, Sally, however you'd like to proceed with that.
I think Well, one, I need to find out the schedule after November 4th. We have a new executive director at the Ag Alliance. So, I'll see what her schedule is, because really, they're always wanting articles, just in case somebody else doesn't write theirs on time, so it's nice to have a little stockpile. But yeah, I can talk to Patrick and get some of his perspective on the flood irrigation, and he might, help me out with where to look up some information for that.
So I talked with Callie Scritchfield about their return flow study that they're doing on the white. And I think she told me that the study's probably gonna be, they have their data and they're now analyzing it. So by the end of the year, they might have a report, maybe not a final report, but a draft report out. Ken, that might be something that we could put in, early next spring to talk about flood irrigation and that return water that runs late to the river. Because that's what that article really needs to highlight.
I think that's a great idea. We've got a number of topics here. We can't do them all at once. And
Yeah.
you're right, the timing of the flood irrigation might be better to wait until we hear back from the White Rivers investigations.
Yeah, I was gonna find out from Callie exactly what she told me, because I forgot to write it down naturally. But it seemed like early spring would be the time if we wanted to wrap up that the White River return flow study into that, or kind of write an all-encompassing article on that. We are doing 500 words, but.
Okay, so Ken and I will probably work on I guess, grant outcomes. Do you want to work on the grant outcome article then?
Yeah, I could talk to Frank and just see what we can come up with, because we just closed out our 2024 grant program, and at the end of this month, at the CWCB meeting, they will approve the rest of what we allocated, what we said we would like to fund. So it'd be a good time to recap grants and the money that is being spent in this.
All right. November 4th, when
Okay.
it's due.
Can you give Frank the good news?
Yep. Sure can.
Don't tell him I.
He's not here, so-
For it.
Told. Great, moving on, the C9 Summit. Ken, you want to talk about that? How many people you have signed up?
Yeah, I think we have 6 people plus Jeff and I so far. We have some more paid slots. But we certainly would, and we aren't limited. We have a limit of the number of slots that will be fully reimbursed, but we also know that there will be basins like, say, the North Platte that will not send a full contingency, and they will divvy up those spots with other people. So in other words, we more likely have 11 or even 12 slots that we could send delegates to the C9. And the C9 Summit itself has turned into it, it's gone from the meetings that we've had in the past were 2 hours with the IBCC. We now have a 2-day summit annually that gives us a chance to really get into much more depth about what we would like to, what we've learned as basin roundtables, what information we can share, and how we can better work together and have greater value for the Colorado Water Conservation Board. And the IBCC has been trying to serve as kind of a conduit between those, and it is helping to facilitate this whole process. So the C9 Summit, along with the roundtable members, will have your IBCC representatives It also has the Colorado Water Conservation Board members and the Colorado Water Conservation Board staff. So it's a great chance to network and better understand how we all work together and how we can be more effective at representing Colorado water interests and make good decisions about dealing with the drought and the negotiations on the Colorado River and our other compacts, but to really help coordinate our efforts for advocacy throughout the whole state of Colorado. So I'm hoping that there's more members from the roundtable that will take interest in this, and I think if you ever go to one of these, you'll want to be going every year. That's my sales pitch. Hope everybody gets a chance to either go or maybe attend. I don't know if you can attend virtually, but I think they will record it, and there will be a chance to review those videos at a later date. That's all.
Again, based on what we talked about at the Big River Committee, do you see trying to find time with Director Mitchell or Pat to pass that along to try to play a little more offense on these rogue articles that are undoubtedly going to increase in the future? Is there going to be an IBCC piece that's attached to that you and Jeff would bring that up there?
I haven't had a chance to broach that subject with Russ, but I did already write myself a note to reach out to him and have that discussion and make sure it's on his radar screen. We've had parts of this discussion already in past months, but I think this article really is so in your face and so inaccurate that it really begs a more coordinated response and a sustained effort, not just an answer to Newsweek, but proactively tell our story. I don't really see this whole topic being any different from running a political campaign. And if you think you're going to win elections by never campaigning and never proactively telling your story, you're delusional.
Yeah, because it's just not Newsweek. There's other folks that are picking up the same study and using the same probably incorrect data to paint whatever picture that they want.
And that's why, I favored getting both Jason Ullman and Phil Weiser involved in this, just because I think it puts a little more horsepower behind your effort. And the attorneys at Newsweek and whoever is representing the people that did the study, make sure that they understand that there is an expectation that they will do the due diligence necessary to make sure their article is accurate and complete prior to publishing stuff like this.
That's just like the wolf story. The wolf story is totally correct, what we see on the paper,
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, and for the C9 Summit, there's 10 spots plus maybe some more altogether that are paid for, and 8 are taken so far.
Six of the 10
6 of the 10
slots that they told us we could have
Okay,
are taken. 4 remain, and Jeff and Kim are
they're the IBCC.
they're IBCCs.
Okay, got
They come out of a different pool
Got
of
it.
money.
Okay, that's what it was. All
And
right.
Sally, do we have you signed up yet, Sally?
It's a tough time for me. I'm trying to make that happen, but I can't commit quite yet. So I am 90% sure it's just
Well, you're one of the 6 that's on my list.
one of the 6 is on your list.
So if you can't make it.
Okay, I'll let you know. Okay.
All right, good.
But I'm hoping to. Upcoming events, we have the Antigua Fall Festival at the ski area on September 22nd. What's happening there? Bunch of,
Yeah, it's, there's will be
couple tables.
some big demonstrations.
We are not, I won't say the face and roundtable is gonna be there for that. But the Upper Nampa Youth Festival on the 25th. I'm going to be doing a presentation and Patrick's gonna be doing one for the Egg Alliance, so. And as far as partner updates, do you wanna make any updates other than Michelle is new? And so, but she has lots of experience in education, Montessori, and being valid for long time, so.
I do, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, lots going on. Teachers are definitely making requests for water education. We're out in Meeker at least once a week through the whole fall semester, which is awesome. Met with Moffett County School District, and they're eager to get us as well. So, yeah, it's the water festival coming up, that's really exciting. Yeah, we have science school rolling out for 6th graders, so.
Oh, the science at Green Mountain, And
So Ken, did you see that email that I sent you with the Yambatika background stuff? That Kristen had sent in with her, she's prepping for another grant request for 25, 26 or 26, 27, I forget. But she had 4 pages of background stuff on what Yamatika's done with the CWCB grant that we helped them get from CWCB.
No, I did not see. How long ago did you send that to me?
2 days.
yeah, 2 days maybe.
Yeah, when I brought my mom down here, we showed up on Saturday. It was 110 outside. Actually, the temperature standing there had to have been a little closer to 120. And when we got in the house, we realized that the air conditioner doesn't work. And so I've been pretty frantically trying to get my mom's comfortably settled into her house. We have a new unit that's going to be installed tomorrow morning. But I have been more than just a little distracted with some of the duties I've had down here, and so I apologize. No, I haven't, but I will make sure I take a look at that first thing tomorrow.
Well, it was pretty amazing what Yamatika's been able to do. It was like a 4-page update, and that came with their grant, and it had a really cool table where through each of the school years that they were able to the kids that they were able to see.
The numbers.
I just loaded it up on the PEPO.
Well, while we're waiting, I see Cheryl's with us. Cheryl, do you have anything you want to type in with? Any announcements to make?
Well, yes, there is an announcement to make. I have actually resigned from Yambatika and have moved to New Hampshire. So I'm about to become the Director of Education for New Hampshire Audubon. And I won't be with you all anymore, but I'm glad that Kristen has been able to kind of summarize what we've done over the last 4 years since the grant started with the very first one. I know I came in about 6 months after it had started, but I feel like we've made a huge amount of progress. and we're just continuing to grow and grow the water education outreach. And I have really high hopes for this year because we made new contacts in Rangeley at the end of last year. We did some non-water lessons, so we'll really get the ball rolling there. They've already started reaching out this year. It's pretty exciting. And we also have some newer location partnerships along the Yampa with CPW for Science School. So really, really great things happening. And yeah, I just wanted to sign in and say I'll miss you all and this amazing work. But I have high hopes that it'll continue to grow into the next grant.
Well, Cheryl,
Thanks for joining
you've
us.
done such an amazing job in your tenure. You should be very proud of what all the Yampatika and you have accomplished. You're definitely going to be missed. And boy, New Hampshire has no idea how lucky they are to have you on board. So great success in your future. And thanks for the amazing legacy that you've left us. You guys are legendary in Colorado.
Well, thanks. It's going to be great. And I have every faith that water ed will continue to grow in the basin moving forward.
Well, you certainly have shown us how to do it.
Share. Can you give me the ability to share?
Oh,
I just wanted to show that. I just wanted to show that one chart because it just like blew me away. Oh, Lordy, now I gotta find it.
Yeah, out here, we only get to, when you share, that's the only thing we see. We can't see anybody else.
Well, when I'm sharing, is there a need to see anybody else?
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see people when you're talking to them.
I'm gonna work on that between the next meeting. I just haven't had a chance between meetings yet to try and fix it, so we'll see.
It's kind of across. I couldn't find the word version, but since we gave Yampatika the grant and they started out in the 2021 school year, saw 930 students, individual students, which was 12.5% of the student body. And they averaged about 1.74 average visits per student. And you look at how they've grown, they've gone from 930 in 2020 to 1,761 in 21-22. And they went up to 1,900. And then last year they did almost 2,500 students. They did nearly 37% of the total student body. And the average visits per student were like 3.6. So it's some amazing work that they're able to with the funds that we're giving them and other interests, but they're really seeing a lot of students, which I was looking at this, and this was background that Kristen had put in to the grant that's going to be coming through our grant committee here in October, November. But it was just amazing the amount of students they see and the amount of work they do. Yes, and they're really not doing it for a lot of funding. So pretty amazing.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing that, Steve. That's a beautiful table.
Oh, it is. It was even better if I could have got the word one up where the table was on one page.
It took a lot of sweat equity to build that one up.
Yes, it did.
Okay, let's see, for other partner updates, no one's here from Friends of the Yampa. Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District, again, the Youth Fest is coming up. I think the next one down is the Community Agriculture Alliance, and like I said, we do have a new executive director, Amber Sachs, and I'm gonna say her last name wrong. Douglas, And then she is a Routt County native, Steamboat native, and has worked at the Cattlemen's Association for a while and was in, leadership steamboat, I believe, something like that. Yeah, so has quite a bit of experience. She lives in Nampa and she's excited to be moving back, and she also just announced that she's having a baby in February. So she's got lots of changes and lots on her plate. So she started yesterday. And so we're excited about that at the Ag Alliance.
So on the, Sally, just a quick question on the Upper Yampa.
Yeah.
That we obtained the funding that we needed for that, our 3-year grant, correct?
I believe so, from Patrick, for the PEPO,
Yes.
yeah, the match, I believe so.
Okay.
I haven't heard, but I will follow up with that. Any agenda topics for the next meeting? Anybody can think of?
We need a membership drive for basic
PEPO?
roundtable members to be at this meeting.
And we're missing a PEPO person. So maybe we can, somebody on board.
Yeah, Madison was always pretty reliable.
Yeah, she was always good for an
Yeah,
article,
here.
right? And here. But if nobody has any other agenda topics or any comments, anything else? Anybody?
Sally.
So we're gonna talk a little bit of PEPO at the C9, is that right, Kim?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I think there's a latest version up on the state's website for the C9 summit. And I know there's at least one breakout session they have in there. But I don't know exactly how I still don't have this quite in the format that I would like, because I still think that there's a part, I see the first day, we've got a lot of tours going on, but that's the thing that I'm hoping to do is have more grant committee people meet with each other from around the state. Same thing with PEPO people from around the state. Now the PEPO committees, Russ and Elizabeth actually do have those meetings periodically throughout the year. And so that there is some cross-pollination that takes place through that effort, but I still think we still have opportunity that we haven't fully utilized yet of learning from more about what we do at each of these different roundtables. The way staff is planning to address that right now is Russ and Jeff go to every meeting, so that if anybody knows what we're doing well and where we are still have a chance to do a better job, it's them. And so they have a list of topics, and I believe the number I heard was 10 that they want to bring forward as part of the discussion there about what different groups are doing around the state. I don't think they want to say, oh, this basin does a terrible job of doing that. That's not what they're going to do. But instead they're going to say, here's a good example of how to utilize this part of your meeting or address this part of your agenda. And so they are going to try to present some of those ideas, and I just haven't seen the final format that's going to be in. So we're kind of inventing this as we move along, and so I'm never I'm like you, I'll be pleasantly surprised to see what all's on the agenda when we finally get there, or how it actually unfolds.
Yeah, it just seems like on our PEPO agenda for next time we ought to talk about the results of the C9 summit.
Yeah, that would be my main thing that
If Kirsten and Sally and you and I are all there, it would be a shame not to
not to meet with some of the other PEPO groups. To
I'll
have,
mention
you know,
it
to
to
have
Russ.
group discussions.
I'll mention that to Russ. I'll put that on my list of things to talk to him about.
So that would work for PEPO, that would work for grants and just information sharing. I know you guys meet, the PEPO groups meet, but it's more formal. This would be more of an informal.
Well, and I can tell you that from the state's perspective, what they want to do is with our PEPO meetings that we do during the year is bifurcate the thing. In other words, the first half of it would be more nuts and bolts for PEPO committee members that are either newer or still working on the foundation there within their roundtable. But then there's a second part of the meeting that's more higher level, statewide perspective. What are these statewide initiatives, like this messaging effort that's coming out of the Southwest area and other related type of statewide activities that would reinforce the work that PEPO is doing. So they're aware that they want to try to address both of those as part of the presentations to the PEPO members. What exactly Russ wants to do at the meeting at C9, I can't tell you any more than that right now. But I'll ask.
Okay. I'm done asking my questions.
Okay. Any other agenda topics? Comments, questions? If not, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to an end.
Move to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Okay.
5:15.
Thanks for everything, Cheryl. We're gonna really miss you. Good luck on Audubon.
Thanks and good luck with everything.
All right, we'll see everybody at the next meeting at 6.
Yay, Rob. Okay.